What's hip hop? That's a $1,000,000 question. You know, hip hop is not baggy clothes, big chains, expensive cars, and Gucci belts. You know, hip hop is love, it's loyalty, unity. You know, it represents the streets and it represents the struggle. You know, UNITY, that's what it's all about. It's an art. You know, different elements of hip hop, such as dance and graffiti and poetry, are different branches of art that comes from the hip hop culture.
Well, I would say that the music experience, especially in the African American community, is deeply rooted in our culture. And when I say that, I mean a lot of times in music, we'll see, especially in hip hop music, that different types of music can put you in different states of mind. You know, you can get a nice song with a nice beat that, you know, hits you and you're hooked to that beat. I mean, in all actuality, a lot of times the music that we get that we like, a lot of times it's the beat that we like. So that beat connects us back to our culture. And when I say that, I mean back in Africa with our ancestors, the beat and the drum played a very, very important role in our community and our communal expression. So the beat and the drum and the rhythm are deeply rooted in the African American experience and the African American culture. One of the reasons why I feel that hip hop is so influential to our people, our young people, is because there is a connection that is made between hip hop, the beats, the messages, and the African American soul and spirit.
Looking back to how our ancestors celebrated special occasions in certain celebrations, you can definitely see the similarities as to how the beats really captured their souls and really got them into the music. You can compare that to how we listen to hip hop today, how the beats are the focal points for us and what we tend to pay attention to. But the thing is, we fail to realize that a lot of these songs give off positive messages, and that goes along with the different kind of writers that we have in hip hop, although they aren't recognized, but we have great writers.
It ain't the same. Something smell fishy. No bacon and egg shit. I'm good with these biscuits. I woke up like 5 in the morning with shit on my mind. Living in this cruel world makes me wonder sometimes. From sunshine to rainstorms comes thunder sometimes. I put my heart and my soul in each one of my lines.
You know, you never hear rappers being compared for like the greatest rap writers of all time.
UNICEF put out a citywide writing contest. And they said anybody who wins this writing contest gets a trip to Africa. So this gang member, leader, takes the test. Says, I'm gonna go and write this essay. He writes a whole essay on Africa. Wins the contest. They sent him to Africa. He gets to Africa. Dude, get to Africa. They used to call him Freight Train when he was in a gang. He was just running up one dude. That guy, Freight Train, flew back to America and called himself Africa Bambaataa.
You hear Bob Dylan, so is Biggie Smalls, like in a Hitchcock way, you know, some of the things that Biggie wrote. Rakim, I mean, listen to some of the things he wrote. I mean, if you take those lyrics and you pull them away from the music and you put them up on the wall somewhere and someone had to look at them, they would say, well, this is genius.
Stop, forward, rewind, play, stop, forward, rewind, play, stop, forward, rewind, play, stop, play. I've lost my best friend. His name is Hip Hop. My bebop show stop body rock, take it to the top. Hip Hop. Life started out real good. The two of us were inseparable. Held hands tightly and walked through the streets, never letting go. I believe the first time we met was when I was 3, when Daddy let me listen to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 MCs. I know y'all remember the Cold Crush, Grandmaster Cass, Tony Tone, Charlie Chase, and Almighty KG. Had me believing if they could enter a white-dominated music industry, why couldn't I be a female MC?
Stop. And listen to this, cause you can hear the thunder and the treble. See the lightning strike, try to come in, you get level. Cause I'ma put my foot up on that pedal and ride out, time out so low, I look up at the devil. Or I could get so high that I'ma float by, sit up in the cloud, watch Biggie straight stroll by. Him and Pac in that low ride, bumping Big L, watching Ray Charles chilling with some gold eyes.
Stop. Play.
Cause Biggie said it the best way, said it, learned it the deaf way. Homie died from a text trade, came and just took his breath away. Homie ain't died the best way, didn't die when he slept way. Homie died on the Cali Strip, Cali Clips, text blaze. Guys lying, see hip hop is dying inside.
Stop, yo, rewind that.
Inside dying, see hip is lying, it's guys.
You know, in the mid-'80s, early '90s, there was a bigger variety of hip-hop. You know, there was conscious hip-hop, there was party hip-hop, there was gangster hip-hop, there was, you know, like silly, goofy hip-hop. Nowadays, it seems like it's all like party music, the popular music. Of course, there's still a lot of underground hip-hop that, you know, doesn't get as much airplay on the radios and on a lot of the, you know, more popular satellite stations and online radio as some of the hip-hop, some of the underground hip-hop music does. And I think the influence that hip-hop has now on kids is similar to what it had on my generation, except it's a much narrower view. It was easier to see yourself, you know, like De La Soul, kind of almost Black Hippies, you know, was one. Or you could be like Ice Cube, or, you know what I'm saying, like Chuck D or KRS. Now there seems to be a narrower vision of what it means to be a young black man now. And I think hip-hop can be so much more than what it is, but I think the powers that be, the people who control what gets put out there, have their own agenda. They want to continue to perpetuate this negative image.
My stash bought with tons, nigga, my young niggas got guns. Nigga, my slot is coming in 1 minute, my young niggas got young niggas. Them bullets coming through 3D, no fuck niggas gonna feed me. And I just caught my first body, that same niggas on TV.
Get that hoe some mix, she gon' wanna set. Every nigga in the section, now she screaming like, ooh, ooh, ooh. How much you made?
That's not no damn man, and that's not the example of a strong black man I would want my son to be like.
We talk about masculinity in hip-hop, you know, and being tough and all that, but we definitely lose sight of the fact that hip-hop started with a woman.
Come back to women in hip-hop. Hip-hop began with a woman named Cindy.
Will kick it, the rhyme it is wicked. Those that don't know how to be pros get evicted. A woman could bear you, break you, take you. Now it's time to rhyme. Can you relate to a sister dope enough to make you holler and scream?
Yo, let me take it from here, queen. Excuse me, but I think I'm about due to get into precisely what I am about to do. I'm conversating to the folks who have no whatsoever clue. So listen very carefully as I break it down for you. Merrily, 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 hyper, happy, overjoyed.
Whereas in Zora Neale Hurston, she took it to the academic level for people to understand it. And then when it comes into poverty, just knowing that this is something that's in us, and then really speaking the story of what happens in poverty, how do you make it out of poverty, what are these things that we carry in us that may be like the baggage that we come around. It was more something of telling a story, but not more so glamorizing what's going on in poverty. Her writing is so much in that sense of how do we share stories, how do we use fables and tales to give lessons in it.
Once upon a time not long ago, when people wore pajamas and lived life slow, where laws were stern and justice stood, and people were behaving like they ought to good, there lived a little boy who was misled by another little boy, and this is what he said. Me and you tonight, we're gonna make some cash, robbing old folks and making the dash.
I think just being a lyricist and being able to have the rhyming factor, having the factor of being able to put metaphors and seeing how you can play off of words is definitely something that her writing had, and a lot of writers that was even in the Harlem Renaissance time. But to see it in, and I want to say like rap of when it started, but not more so now, is a big piece of really kind of what started what we see now. Really thinking about the 16 bars and thinking about how words play off of each other and how you have those metaphors to think about, like, well, I may not actually be saying something, but if you read between the lines or you read into what I'm saying, you can make a whole different meaning of it.
Honestly,
Then y'all go all in his house. The flame turn his brains into change. It be all in the couch. Any survivors left in that lock in the sprout. You guys want to take shots, then Captain Morgan's comes out. Slow it down, I just dissed you. You guys want to take shots, get capped, and more guns come out. Slow it down once more. You want to take shots, get capped, then organs come out.
Why would they put Scotty Slip in a rap with Jordan? Everybody in here know that my rap's important, but you want to slow it down 3 times like smack important. I'll smack your gun and step on the barrel like I'm Captain Morgan.
With all these different creative elements of hip-hop, it's hard for anyone not to be influenced by such a great culture. And we're not just influenced by the words in these songs and influenced by the beats. The demeanor that we walk around with and that swagger that we walk around with is also something that really, really influences the youth in suburban areas, from the way that we dress to the way that we walk, and also the way that we talk in different dialects from different areas around the country are some things that really influence minorities who grew up in suburban areas, such as Amherst.
Hip hop has a major influence on everybody. You know what I mean? There's people all over the world that listen to hip hop, and it's particularly gotten a lot of traction and following in the suburban communities. And I mean, I grew up listening to hip hop. The first CD I ever listened to and knew word for word was Doggy Style when I was, in 3rd grade. But I think what's important about hip hop, particularly, with kids that are minorities, is to be able to understand how, while you relate in some aspects to it, it's not the same type of lifestyle per se as it is when you're living in the, actual city, and that it's the balance of being able to, that these rappers talk about, and they're reflecting on a lifestyle without positively promoting it. So it has a lot of positives to it, but there are some drawbacks to it, with hip hop. Personally, I've always listened to hip hop my entire life. It's my favorite type of music. A lot of it has to do with strictly just listening to the beat. I think that there's a gravitas towards it. I think that kids appreciate, the type of tenacity that comes with hip hop, the ruggedness, the realness of it, and that, while you may not be doing the same things as those guys, you can relate to it because it's part of the alpha male type of culture.
More specifically about being a young man of color.
That you gotta make it. Get money. Yeah. Get money. You gotta be a rapper.
Yeah, you gotta be a rapper.
You gotta be dope. You gotta get those muscles though.
Yeah, you gotta get the girls.
You gotta get the ladies to like your back. And the club.
Yeah.
And you gotta get that intercourse.
Whoa, slow down.
It's true.
It's true.
You can't.
In Amherst, growing up here, I thought it was interesting because there were kids that I knew who, where they were from, and even if they were in somewhat of a socioeconomically less advantaged of a situation, they didn't grow up in the hood. Like, kids weren't getting shot in Amherst, but because they listened to hip hop and because that there's certain types of, portrayals of what it means to be a young African-American man, they would essentially assume, they would assume that role.
Being a guidance counselor and running the ABC house and trying to raise my own kids is, regardless of what I say or do, they have constant exposure with YouTube and, the online instant access. So it's a challenge. It definitely takes a community effort to help them to understand that they still can be whatever they want to be, regardless of what images they see.
I think hip hop is nice. It's a pretty good style of music. My honest opinion on it is I'm glad that it was made because it's like a new genre of music, and it's pretty young for when it came out. So I think it's lasting, and I feel like hip hop is gonna be a good trend, a good or nice trend for a long time.
We have to keep our head up in that we can't give up no matter how hard it is, and though people could be
hard on you, they are doing it so you can be stronger and better and learn to withstand that for when you grow up, so you can be a better guy.
And is that like a positive role model for y'all?
No. No. Well, yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but like,
No,
He's
but
not
he's
like
a
a
good
real
rapper.
idol.
Yeah, he got that beat going for him.
He's like a good music maker, but not.
So do y'all think y'all, even though y'all know like in your mind, like, well, we really can't be like that, be honest, do y'all think y'all act like that in school though?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
How did that work? How many of y'all caught the part about what he was saying about what to do with the girl? That's the only part y'all caught? Y'all didn't get the other piece where he said give her some X and then she gonna want to sex every nigga in the set?
Yeah.
Over your head?
No.
Okay.
I even you probably get it.
Yeah.
The light is there. You see, I come from Mississippi. I was young and running wild. Ended up in New York City, where I had my first child. I named the boy Nasir. All the boys call him Nas. I told him as a youngster, he'll be the greatest man alive. Let's go. I'm the magnificent. Hey, Chuck Berry of this rap skit. Styles I mastered, many brothers snatched it up and tried to match it. But I'm still number one, everyday real. Speak what I want, I don't care what y'all feel, cause I'm my own master. My pop told me be your own boss, keep integrity at every cost. And his home was Natchez, Mississippi. Did it like Miles and Dizzy, now we getting busy. Bridging the gap from the blues to jazz to rap. The history of music on this track. Born in the game, discovered my father's music like Prince searching through boxes of Purple Rain. But my Minneapolis was the bridge, home of the super kids. Some are well known, some doing bids. I might have ended up on the wrong side of the tracks if Pops wouldn't have pulled me back and said, yo. See, I come from Mississippi. I was young and running wild. Ended up in New York City, New York, where I had my first child. That's me, y'all. I named the boy Nasir. Yeah. All the boys call him Nas. That's what's up. I told him as a youngster, he'll be the greatest man alive. Greatest man alive. Yeah, great man alive. The blues came from gospel for blues. Slaves are harmonizing them ahs and oohs. Old school, new school, no school rules. All these years I've been voicing my blues. I'm an artist from the start, hip-hop got in my heart. Graffiti on the wall, could've ended in Sparfit. Juvenile delinquent, but Pops gave me the right type of tools to think with. Books to read, like X and stuff. Cause the school said the kids had dyslexia. In art class I was a compulsive sketcher of. Teachers in my homeroom, I drew pics to mess them up. Cause none of them would like my style. Read more books than the curriculum profile. Said, Mr. Jones, please come get your child. Cause he's writing mad poems and his verses are wild.